Hey friends, it's Alex from Vulture Culture, and this is the legendary Korg Polysix. Unreal. And what we can do is, why don't we turn this effect off so you can hear what this sounds like. So that's just the pulse width here, so we can actually turn that off real quick just so we can hear the sound. Just the pulse. Quite beautiful. So let's check out the chorus here. And you can control the speed and intensity here. I like slow choruses. But we could get kind of crazy with it if we wanted. We move this over to phaser. Phaser is actually quite awesome. I didn't think I would use a phaser for something like this all too often, but it's actually quite good. And this is the ensemble, which is for those like vintage string machine sounds. So this Bank 1 Patch 3 is really, really cool. What's so cool about this is when I first heard it, I was like, how did they do like sine waves? There isn't a sine wave on this. There's only saw, pulse width, and pulse width modulation. So what's going on here is the filter. There's a lot of resonance on it, and basically when you bring it down really low, you get these crazy E-piano sounds. That I didn't even know you could really get this type of sound, but that analog filter is just so gorgeous. Just crazy. And then if you move this just a bit, you get kind of a different type of sound. So it's like a dream. unreal beautiful. So this is where we can get some really thin stuff, which is using, I'm assuming, the pulse width here, and bringing the pulse width very narrow, which is how you can get really thin sounds without using any EQ. And we do go all the way through 0 here. Like, when I first started popping on some of these sounds, I was like, this is a pretty convincing electric piano sound, but this was 2 years before FM. Like, it's pretty crazy what this filter can do. It's like an organ. Oh, a little bit of noise up in there. Oh, I love some of these where it's got these really long releases. Just keep going. I want to point out something. The sound is mono. There's no stereo, no reverb, nothing. It's unreal. Just crazy. Okay, so let's set the stage. It's 1981, and Roland has released the Juno 6, which is sort of the first really affordable analog poly synth available on the market, along with the Sequential Circuits Prophet 5. But the Juno 6 is really affordable. The Polysix is designed to compete with the Roland Juno 6, but it has a lot more features and sounds really like a Prophet 5 because it has an SSM filter in it, which is the same type of filter as the Prophet 5 had, as well as it has 6 voices like the Juno 6, but these voices are not digitally controlled oscillators. They're voltage controlled oscillators, which Roland saved for their most expensive synthesizers like the Jupiter 8. So this is a very interesting synth because it does have patch memory, which the Juno 6 didn't, but the Juno 60 did, which came out after this. And so we get a lot of features with this synthesizer. It was designed to go head to head with the Sequential Circuits Prophet 5 and the Roland Juno 6. And Roland would eventually sort of slaughter this synth with the Juno 106, which had a lot going for it, including MIDI. This synth came out before MIDI, but I've had MIDI installed on this. It is kind of a crazy thing to have your hands on. I never would have thought at the beginning of my music journey that I would have a legendary synth from 1981 sitting in front of me. Honestly, I wouldn't have thought that even like a year ago. So I want to illustrate something. You can hear how the vibrato comes in. So what's going on? I'm going to exaggerate it here. So it's really crazy. So we have this modulation generator, which is what Korg called a LFO until very recently. What this is doing is we can actually control the speed. Get very fast. We get really seasick if we slow it down like that. But we actually have a delay on the LFO too. So all the way down it starts vibrato, but if I increase it, actually I can have quite a long delay. This is the maximum so we can hear. Get a long time. There it goes finally. Yeah, so very useful for creating certain types of sounds where it starts clean and then you add a little bit of vibrato, the same way a violin player, they might strike a note and then add a little of that to it. So yeah, it's a really cool feature. So this filter will scream. Sorry for your ears. There's an interesting relationship between the cutoff, the intensity, and the keyboard tracking. It moves the actual cutoff position here. Wow. Oof. Sorry if I ripped anybody's ears apart. Ooh, it's a very pretty little... I have to say too, comparing this to the Korg DW8000, the Korg MS2000B, the Korg M1, the Korg Wave Station, got a couple of Korg synths. This keybed is incredible. Like, it's insane how good it feels to actually touch this thing. And compared to the other ones, it's incredible. It might have something to do with the synth tech that put this together. He might have gone through and done a really great job of making this thing feel great. But whatever it is, this is the best feeling keybed of all of the Korg synths I have, except for maybe the Korg Prologue. But this baby's 40 years old. It's okay. You can be how you are. So this is a good sound also to use the arpeggiator here. So you can see we can control the speed here. We can control 1 octave, 2, full, I guess, goes all the way up. Let's see if we put it to down. And here is sort of some sort of aliasing. It might be something to do with on my end, I don't know. Oh, we can use latch mode. So I can take my hands off the keyboard and then put in my own chords. It's really cool. Guess that goes all the way up, so what if I did this? Wow. Whoa. What the fuck? Insane what can be done with this synth from 1981. Love these super long release sounds. You get the vibrato in there later with this very slow phaser. Organy type thing. So what's going on here is a very fast decay. You can get these incredibly fast attacks. And obviously it's because it's voltage controlled amplifiers too, and envelope generators. It's all analog. There's nothing here. And one thing I want to say too is this is the first synthesizer. It's the only synthesizer out of, well, I don't know how many I have now, fucking 10 synthesizers, vintage synthesizers, that's truly one knob to function. No menu diving. Obviously, there's no such thing as a menu back when this synth came out. Menu diving's not really the devil, like if it gets you to cooler sounds, because the problem with this synth is it's incredibly simple, incredibly rudimentary compared to something like the K5000S or some, really deep synth, or even the Wave Station is like mind-bendingly deep. This thing is only ever going to make sounds that kind of go bow or wow. That's kind of what it does. That's not to say that that's a bad thing. I mean, obviously, there's something so cool about the immediacy of the one knob to function. And there is something about the sound. I hate talking this way like synth people do, where it's like, it's so warm, it's so fat. There is something to it. There is something to this sound that doesn't feel capturable in software. I'm really excited to see how the Polysix VST stacks up against this thing. I mean, does this vintage piece of gear have some magic to it that's not capturable in software? I don't know, but it definitely has some magic. Super Zelda here. Get these really intense sounds. Wow. I just love these really long release sounds. And I don't know if I said this earlier, but there's no reverb. This is a mono signal straight down. There's not even a stereo output. So all of these effects are mono. And the fun and the depth and the intensity of this synthesizer, considering you don't have any stereo width, well, that's something. Oh, I forgot. We've got one like special effect-y type sound. What a weird thing. So the last preset of Bank D is my favorite sound on this. It's a crazy sound because it kind of sounds like a supersaw to me. And what's going on here is we've got the phaser actually. Doing a lot of the modulation. Let's turn that off to hear what it sounds like without that. Pretty sure that's the sawtooth. No, it was the pulse. Must be, or the... Yeah, there we go. It's the pulse width with some PWM. Kind of a slow PWM. We can get it to where it gets really thin, all the way to 0. Let's play with this chorus here. The phaser is surprisingly useful for this type of sound, like... The thickness. I have a sickness for the thickness. What's interesting here too is the envelope generator is shared actually by the filter and the envelope. So if I move it to this mode here, it's a little square. What that does is anytime the keyboard is held down, it's all on. So you can think of it as like full sustain, no release, no attack. And what that lets you do is control the filter independent of the amp envelope. So you have like a sort of a second amp envelope, but without release, attack is just full sustain if you need that. A little bit of attack. Always like that with arpeggios, a little bit of attack. So now again, we're just using the voltage controlled filter to control the, is giving us all the sound. You get kind of these little glassy tones here. It's funny, it almost seems like there's a little swing in there, but I don't think that's possible. I think it's just we're getting a little bit of wonky. Increase this. Really cool. What you can do with this thing. More than any other synth, the one knob per function thing, it's just like, it's so easy to get lost in this thing. It's like, okay, let's just do this. You just get really deep into this stuff. It's just so easy to sink into this thing and be like, wow, it feels so great to connect with a piece of history like this. So I'm sure I'm going to do more videos on the Polysix. It really is incredible. If you want to see those videos, you better be subscribed to the channel. Hit that subscribe button, smash that notification bell, like this video. It makes a huge difference, and I'll see you in the next video.